You go
Mirror,
first.
mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?
Pies are luxuries. They don't need luxuries. Confuses them.
You know, I really don't remember you being this opinionated.
Now tell me, are you against me? Are you? Yes or no?
Yours is way better than mine.
I thought you were to say mine was better than Gal's. And I was like, yeah, that wasn't.
Confirmed. Confirmed. Ooh, wait. No.
Listen.
Listen.
Wait.
I hate you for that.
Let me fix it. Welcome back to Let Me Fix It, the podcast that says
She's a writer, and he loves a $50 word.
Come on. I fucking love it. I'm obsessed.
I know, it's so good. I'm Francesca Ramsey. I'm an actress, a producer, a writer, and former graphic designer.
And I'm DeLon Grant. I'm an actor, singer, photographer, writer, and an educator. And shout outs to Tapiwa, if we're saying that correctly. I think it's Tapiwa who sent in this week's tagline all the way from Cape Town, South Africa, along with a truly lovely note. They say, love the idea of listeners contributing to the pod. It's a beautiful and necessary reminder of the community that is required for the human experience. Without you, there's no pod. And without the listeners, there's no audience. Love the symbiosis of life. That is just so beautiful.
Okay.
You're a writer, bitch. Okay. You better go, Tampiwa. Thank you so much for sending it in. Sincerely.
Oh, class, we asked you to send these taglines and you have answered the call. If you would like to send us a tagline, shoot us an email with a voice note to lemmefixitpod@gmail.com and we might use it in an upcoming episode. Okay, enough business. This week, we are continuing our movie focus season with the latest live action remake that I don't think we needed, but we got anyway. That's right, we're talking about Disney's Snow White starring Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot.
We definitely didn't need it, but it's a pretty straightforward retelling of the Disney classic Snow White with some additional backstory and some new songs with way too much CGI. Now, there were practicals in there as well, Fran, that I thought were really nice, but like the CGI, especially when we got to the woods, was like, yo, we're in a different movie here, right?
Yeah, I was tripping balls.
We'll get to it. But after opening to a very disappointing $87 million globally compared to its $270 million budget, it seems that audiences just like were not feeling it. And after seeing it myself, I know. I think they're right.
Here's and sorry to jump in, but like, what's wild is 87 million is a lot of money.
That's
like, it's
what's
wild
crazy.
to make $87 million, and it's like, whop, we didn't do it. It's like, maybe you shouldn't have spent 270 million to make it.
Well, and it goes back to that Cord Jefferson thing. Cord Jefferson class who won the Oscar for last year for writing the adaptation of American Fiction, which is a great movie starring Jeffrey, help me.
Ooh, Tambor? Is that his name?
No,
not his name. I can't remember his name.
Anyway, Jeffrey, Black Jeffrey, who we all love. But he said in his acceptance speech, Cord said, what if we made $10 million movies? And instead of, it goes to that, like, you didn't make all that money back. So why did you spend $270 million, to your point? After seeing it, it does fall a little flat, if I'm honest. But there's also this thing about the film is just embroiled in all this controversy almost from the minute it was announced. And while some of it may be well earned, like Peter Dinklage, the actor, says that the Seven Dwarves perpetuate some harmful stereotypes about people who suffer from dwarfism, the rest of the backlash is just kind of racist and sexist and like a dog pile on 23-year-old Rachel Ziegler, who plays Snow White.
DeLon, did you know about any of this? Because I'm chronically online. I've been following this since day one.
People Magazine's Ramsey, okay? She stays steeped in it. I heard some stuff about it, like via like some TikTok stuff, but nothing too crazy. I did some research for this episode of the pod, and it's kind of crazy. It's kind of nuts.
It's ridiculous. So when Rachel's casting was first announced back in 2021, the racist said that she was not white enough to play Snow White. because Rachel is hold a white Latina. I swear, race and ethnicity stay kicking y'all's asses.
For
She is
real.
white. She's white, okay? Then Rachel was accused of being, quote, ungrateful when she shared that the new Snow White would not be so focused on the love story aspect, since the original story felt very dated by comparison. She's not wrong. I
She's
mean,
not
in
wrong.
the original Snow White, she don't really even talk that much. She
Well-
don't got no personality. It's really the love story of it all.
Well, and also, like, to her point, this is 2025. So how do we
Yes.
make it? How do we? If you're retelling a story, please have a different point of view. Please tell it in a different way. She's
Well,
just saying, hey, this story doesn't happen to be male focused, or she actually Snow White is the hero. She's not being saved
Yes.
by anyone, right?
Yes, that is what she was attempting to communicate, and people really got on her. And the thing that bothered me about that is, like, Rachel didn't write the movie. So why
Talk
are
about
you
it.
mad at her that the changes were made? But most recently, Jonah Platt, Ben Platt's brother and the son of mega producer Mark Platt, left a comment on Instagram accusing Rachel of being responsible for the film's poor reception. Her crime, apparently, was that she tweeted out "Free Palestine" and refused to take it down, even after his father hopped on a plane and demanded that she delete it. Now, there was even a whole Vanity Fair article suggesting that Rachel's politics were to blame for the film being so poorly received. She also tweeted "fuck Donald Trump," which I don't see. Where's the issue? Where's the lie?
That, but also, like, what's crazy to me is not to, like, I'm pulling Gal Gadot into this. If
Yes.
we're gonna say that Rachel Ziegler tweeting out "Free Palestine" is part of the reason that the film flopped, I think you also have to go, well, Gal Gadot is Israeli and has certain Israeli politics. I don't know if she's on Twitter like that, but I would also think if that's the
Right.
fulcrum, which we're blaming everything on, then I
Mhm.
think Gal Gadot probably had something to do with that as well, right? Just
And
her
I know-
being in the
and
film
I-
at all.
Absolutely. She served in the IDF. She's very open about her politics. And to your point, there were people that said they would not see the film because Gal was in it. So
And there it
it's
is.
like, again, as the audience, we are allowed to decide if we want to watch something or we don't want to watch something. But it is bonkers to place the blame on one actress when, let's be real, she didn't do anything controversial here. And it really started to feel very much like a targeted attack at this 23-year-old. It's like, why are y'all blaming her for this $1 million budget? She didn't make the dwarf CGI.
Well, and that, and I mean, it might sound familiar, but, like, we're biased, but, like, it's fucking Halle, what's Halle's last name?
It's
Who's the Little Mermaid?
Halle Bailey with
Bailey,
Little Mermaid.
with Little Mermaid all over again. And I can't, again, I am totally biased, but you choose the POC woman
Mhm.
who's very young to blame for the entire, for a $270 million failure. No, y'all, not when Gal Gadot's staring you right in the face. Okay, with her bad musical theater acting. Don't get me started on that. So, class, this week, you know what we're going to do. We're going to review the film, and then, as usual, we're going to try to do our best to fix it. So let's dive in. This is Snow White. Let me fix it.
Not you cracking yourself.
I don't know why that happens to me, but something happens, and I think it is so funny, and it piles on. Oh my God, help
that
him.
was incredible.
I'm very caffeinated, by the way.
I love that for us. So Disney's 2025 live action remake is, of course, a reimagining of Disney's 1937 classic Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. Lots of interesting factoids here. Delon, I did not know this before I started working on this, but the original film is notable for a number of reasons, including being the first fully animated feature film produced in the United States. It pioneered a number of animating techniques, in addition to being the highest grossing film of 1938 and
Wow.
one of the top 10 highest grossing animated films of all time.
Wow. I mean, like, listen, Disney, you know who you are, but, like, I'm giving it up to you because
you
you
are that
created,
girl.
okay, from jump. You pioneer, vintage, created it. Like, that's badass. I didn't know
Yes.
any of those factoids, Fran. Which just confirms, like, Disney, y'all had no business remaking this live action because you did it right the first time.
already
Just let
did.
it be.
You like it. You don't have to fix it if it's not broken.
Talk about it. Talk about it. So this time around, we go all the way back to the king and queen being blessed with a baby during a terrible snowstorm after years of trying to conceive. And in honor of the snowstorm, they named the child, you guessed it, Snow White. The three of them are very happy together, and to top it off, the townspeople love them. They're always singing and dancing in town and baking pies and making sure Snow White knows that you can be nobility while still being fair and good. And that's how you know it's a fairy tale. Because no royal is ever good. Them motherfuckers pillaging and stealing and imperialism and all of that shit.
The lie detector determined that is a lie. So when the queen dies unexpectedly, the king quickly remarries a beautiful and mysterious woman who shows up out of nowhere, played by, you guessed it, Gal Gadot. When the king later goes off to fight an army that's threatening his kingdom, he disappears, never to return home again. The new queen quickly turns evil, overtaking the throne, forcing townspeople to work for her or be thrown in a dungeon, hoarding the town's wealth and food for herself, and reducing Snow White to a lowly servant, cleaning the castle all by herself. And this is when we get one of the film's new songs. There's a new song to open the film, but Rachel Zegler breaks into Waiting on a Wish. And I gotta say, this is a great song.
It's a bop. And like I was listening to like the structure of the lyric, and it's so good songs, good musical theater songs are very poetic and very figurative, with like giving the emotion of the I Want song or the emotion of what you're talking about. This is very well crafted.
Wait, can you just explain what the I Want song is, Delon?
Yes. So in a musical, the protagonist, the lead character, always has an I Want song. And that just shows you what this individual is going to be fighting for throughout the entire musical, right? And you're going to see them get close to it. You're going to see them fail. But the audience knows that this is the essence of the character. They want to be free. They want to be in love with this person. They want to open a pie shop. Like, what's that musical? Sarah Bareilles. Waitress, right?
Oh, love Waitress.
So good. Back to this old dirty queen, because despite all the jewels and delicious food, the queen is insecure as hell. What she got to be insecure about? You got that beautiful ass face.
You a bad bitch. You walked in off the street and you were like, I see it, I want it, I got it, I did it. You know, she didn't even think twice, and the man was hers. You know,
well,
so like,
and this
she knows she's fine.
Just tells you that like, when you want something, you just continue to want more and more capitalism, just more and more and more. Because this bitch, every night she goes and she looks in the mirror, this magic mirror, and you all know the phrase. She says, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? And despite being one of the most iconic lines in the history of film, as Fran was talking about earlier, somehow Gal Gadot and her accent just fumble it. I mean, the line reading is just right there and so clear. We've heard it 1,000 times. Every day, the mirror says, "Gal, you the gal," and the queen.
I'm sorry, that's a dumb joke. But I was so excited about that fucking joke.
It's really, and I delivered it quite well, if I do say so myself.
Yes, Gal,
but you should
taking notes.
she should be able to sleep soundly at night, but you know, she just wants more and more and more.
And then it all gets messed up when one day Snow White comes across a thief in the castle, Jonathan, played by Andrew Burnham, and they exchange a few words after she catches him stealing some potatoes in the kitchen. She says, stealing is wrong. And he says, who cares? I'm hungry and the queen sucks. Which I can't say I disagree with him. Okay.
He ain't wrong.
No, he's really not. So later, when the queen sentences him to being tied on the front gate in the freezing cold, Snow White stands up for him. And then she even helps him escape and gives him some bread. Okay, it's giving fair. It's giving who's the fairest.
It is giving fair. But can we talk about this bread? I was like, you can give him a whole roll? She gave him like this half-eaten roll. Dry. You know what I mean? Damn, can I get an apple? Like Snow White's known for her apples. Can you get an apple, girl?
Yeah.
So that night, the queen goes back to her mirror and asks again, who's the fairest? And sure enough, he says, Snow White. All because she helped this thief. So livid, the queen orders the royal huntsman to take Snow White into the woods, kill her, and bring back her heart in a box. That's now
evil. That to me felt like a huge escalation. Like we're in a Disney movie. And she's like, cut out her heart and put it in a box.
Her bloody
Whoa.
heart in a box. That's so crazy.
It's my heart in a box.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Get out of here, Justin. So then Gal sings a new song, All Is Fair, and she sings it so badly. Part of the reason she sings it badly is just the musical theater acting of it all. It's like she doesn't really know not only the emphasis of the lines, but she's not sure what to do, and it's so clear physically to me.
Yeah, and
So
I saw a really great breakdown that really crystallized it for me. Also, there's also the thing of like she's singing in a way that feels too airy for a villain. Like she's not like oh,
poor unfortunate soul.
I'm a bad one, Mr. Grinch. Like she's not, in the diaphragm. I don't know all the technical terms, right?
Chest voicey, yes.
The chesty, the belty, like the growling, and she's like the evil is not there. She's just singing a song, and she doesn't have a bad voice, so to speak. I mean, like she's carrying a tune, but she doesn't give the song the gravitas.
It's not gusto, there's not much gusto in it. And you know what it is? It's giving like, I don't sing regularly, but I learned this thing. Like there are a couple people in Wicked that I mentioned, right? Jeff Goldblum, Michelle Yeoh, like love them. Don't get me wrong, but they're clearly not singers.
Yes.
And they really, you could tell just because they weren't invested in it and didn't know their instrument super well, right?
You can tell they're like in their head. They're like, they're like, and now I'm doing this, and now I'm doing this.
And listen, Gal had some notes. She sang a big old note at the end, and I was like, okay, girl.
She did. Okay, Gal.
Okay. I see you, Gal. So the queen, tells the huntsman, go in the woods, kill the girl, bring back the heart in the box. But once they're in the woods, the huntsman can't bring himself to kill Snow White. And instead he tells her, run away and save yourself, girl. Get out.
Now, the forest is scary as hell, and after running for her life, Snow White nearly drowns before being discovered by a bunch of animals, a deer, some bunnies, some squirrels, and they are absolutely obsessed with her, okay? I almost expected them to be like, who's that girl? La, 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 la. They are just like on her like white on rice, okay? So the animals then lead her to a tiny cabin and encourage her to break in and take a nap in these tiny beds of some men that she does not know. Now, for y'all listening at home, unless you are trying to get killed, please don't do that. Please stay at home. Don't break into anybody's house.
I don't. You know what I don't need? I don't need your judgment. I don't need your judgment.
Oh, Delon's like you. Delon's like, I feel very called out.
I feel very attacked. Whose
bed is this?
I mean, sometimes it's like, tell me your name again. My kid. Do I? But I just want to point out, you said that Snow White broke in. It was them aminals that broke in.
Oh,
that little squirrel hopped on the door and said, "Girl, get in." They opened the bed sheet. They said, "Girl, lay down." They're trying to assist the bitch.
And you know what? I will also say, to your point about the CGI of it all, I thought the animals looked great. Like there were some squirrels that were like cuddled up under Snow White and being all cute. And I was like, do I want a pet squirrel? Like that, they were so cute. And I thought the deer looked a little too animated, but like the bunnies, some of those looked, and the birds, I thought those looked really good.
Yeah, and I think that we're going to talk about like the really terrifying kind of uncanny valley of the dwarves here. And I think because we expect them, we'll get to what uncanny valley means in 2 seconds here, class, but we expect the dwarves to be like real people.
Yeah.
And we expect the animals to be animated, right?
Yeah.
And so this weird line was blurred with the dwarves that made everything feel really weird. Because I agree with you, the animals felt very, very real, or I believed it anyway.
Yeah.
But class, the dwarves were this weird mix of CGI, which gave them this uncanny valley. Like I was just saying, the uncanny valley, if you don't remember, we talked about it when we talked about Child's Play or Chucky on the podcast before. Uncanny valley occurs when something appears almost human-like, but has subtle flaws and inconsistencies that make it just feel off. Yeah. There's A Different World. Remember that show, Fran?
Yes.
The spinoff of The Cosby Show with Lisa Bonet. So that's back on Netflix if anybody wants to watch it. But what they've done is they've updated it. Forgive me if I've said this on the pod before. Have
Oh,
I talked about it?
I shared the clip with you that they
Oh,
used
that's
AI.
what it is.
Yes.
I'm regurgitating your own business back to you,
No,
girl.
you say it.
But because they updated it with AI to make it look more I don't know, updated,
like high def, because it's
4K.
it's old.
That's what it is.
It's old, and like what you can't do is when you shoot you said 4K, it's how many pixels are actually in the video. You can't add pixels back in. That's why when you take a picture from the internet and you try to print it, it looks like shit.
Yeah.
It's because it doesn't have enough information in there. And so they used AI to add pixels to make it more high def.
And so some of it is just like off. And you know
weird.
what? It wasn't to the naked eye, you probably won't notice it, right? For different worlds specifically. But once you pointed it out to me, I was like, oh God, I really, really see it. But again, the dwarves are a little weird, especially because we'll get to this. There's an actual human that is a dwarf. That's, you know, a little person that's dwarf.
Yeah.
And you go, well, why couldn't we just hire all little people or people who are dwarves to do those roles, because they would like to work. So
yeah, well, and that was kind of what happened when Peter Dinklage, you know, listen, he is entitled to his opinion, and I don't want to speak for him. He, you know, he has obviously is the authority when it comes to how these representations have been bad for him as a person who has dwarfism. But when he criticized the film, a lot of actors, including the guy who was best known for Austin Powers. He's like the sidekick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He was one person that was like, excuse me, I would like a job.
That part.
Say less, Peter. I'll be in the movie. There were a number that came forward of actors that came forward and said, no, we need these jobs. There are a lot of opportunities for us. So I can see both sides. And I think Disney did the thing where they tried a little too hard to course correct. And they just swung the pendulum where they were like, well, we'll hire one and then we'll use CGI for the others. And they just looked really weird.
They did. They also, I mean, one of the more famous songs from the movie, the original movie, is "Hi Ho, Hi Ho, mm-hmm. It's home to work we go." Yeah. And they added more to this tune, which kind of like introduced some of the seven dwarves, which it just felt like it went on a little bit too long. Like I didn't understand why we were. Well, it didn't tell us any information other than like kind of
their names,
work and their names.
Yeah, and it was.
But, it was nice. It just didn't tell us much.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where because I recognized the song, I had a moment of like, ooh, I know this song. And then to your point, it just kept going, and I was like, and it was hard to look at them. They're just so strange looking. Delon, my question to you: can you name all of the seven dwarves?
I can. I think I can. Happy, Sleepy, Dopey, Doc, Grumpy, Sneezy, Sexy.
You know what? I don't know who that last one is.
I don't even know who the last one is.
Sorry to that man. I don't know that man.
I'm sorry to that dwarf. I'm sorry to him.
Now, despite breaking into their house, the dwarves take Snow White in, and she teaches them how to whistle and how to clean because their place is disgusting. Later, the queen's magic mirror says she's still not the fairest because that bitch Snow White is still alive. So the queen throws the huntsman in jail and orders her henchmen to find Snow White and kill her. Meanwhile, the thief and Snow White have reunited in the forest, and of course, there's chemistry between them, even though he looks like he could be her dad, and he has a whole song where he negs her. He's actually 34, and she's 23. But she's so young looking. It's one of those things that, like, together, I knew they were going to get together, but I was like, I don't know. I don't buy it.
And this is where I fell asleep in the movie.
Oh.
I might have taken a small nap in the movie, not on purpose.
Yeah,
but I definitely took a nap. And when I was reading this, I was like, "Oh, that's what happened during that part." So Jonathan the thief and his diverse thief friends. One is played by an actual actor with dwarfism, like we said, and not CGI. And there's a black girl in there who doesn't talk. There's a black man in there who also doesn't talk.
The black people don't say not a word.
Nope. And I was waiting for it too. So they save Snow White from the Queen's huntsman, and boom, now Jonathan and Snow White are in love. It's a very hand meets a hand.
Yes. I thought this song was pretty.
Wait,
that's the new song. You were asleep.
I was dead.
You're trying to read the line as if you were. Yes, it's like a hand meets a hand. That's the song.
I didn't even know what the hell I was talking about.
You're an actor. You did it so naturally. No, the song that they sing is "A Hand Meets a Hand," and it's a cute little moment. They are hanging out with all the thieves, and they're both singing to each other about how much they like each other, and they're kind of like stealing glances. The song is good. I just, again, to me, I think I was set up a little bit because Rachel said, we're not focusing on the love story. And I was like, Mama, here's the love story. It's right here. I guess you kind of can't do Snow White without it.
Right.
But they sound good. They sound good together.
And this is a great example of like hand meets a hand. That's like a great title and a great figurative and literal idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how like a successful musical theater song happens, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, they've got some heavy hitters writing music for this, as they should, because we
Justin
know
Paul and Benj Pasek,
who went to University of Michigan with us.
They really did. Go pick up, gents.
But it's like you're taking a classic. We know the old songs, so if you're gonna give us new songs, you better fucking bring the heat. So
That's right.
To their credit, I really feel like these new songs, you know what, I could see these being audition songs.
Oh, Fran, he's a musical theater teacher. I was listening and I was like, that I'm going to give audition cuts for these specific songs because they're beautifully written, and especially for young women or female identifying. Yes. Goodness,
these are great audition songs.
So Jonathan and his buddies are convinced that Snow White's dad, who disappeared years ago, might still be alive, so they go looking for him, only to be captured by the Queen and thrown into the dungeon. Then, despite knowing the Queen wants to kill Snow White and the dwarves, she decides to go to work. Then, despite knowing the Queen wants to kill Snow White, the dwarves, they decide to go hi-ho. They go back to work and leave her alone. And they go to hi-ho. Listen, sure enough, the Queen disguises herself as that old woman we all know with that poison apple. She rolls up to the dwarves' cottage and gives it to Snow White. Snow White takes one bite of that apple out like a light. Sleep.
The dwarves are devastated, and they should be, because it's their fucking fault, okay? Why did you
They were supposed to protect that bitch.
You know that girl ain't been nowhere. She's like, oh, who are you? Hi, nice to meet you. Snow White. Close the fucking door.
Absolutely close the door. I was looking for Jonathan. Girl?
Child, and the witch didn't even try. She said, "Oh, yeah, I have an apple for you." Somebody's like, "Oh, no."
Wait, and then listen, Fran, if you opened the door and that bitch showed up, wouldn't you scream and lock the door?
This hideous woman shows up, and she's just, I have a treat for you. Absolutely,
Gollum got 3 hairs on her head. Get out of here.
Well, thankfully, Jonathan breaks out of the dungeon and kisses Snow White without her consent, and decides when she awakens, she says, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stand up to that Queen once and for all and take the town back. The dwarves are all in, and Dopey is so inspired that he speaks for the very first time, and it is supposed to be a big deal, but it really doesn't land because he's fucking CGI. He's so strange looking, like his eyes.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Did you cry?
I was moved.
You were?
Well, because he doesn't speak the whole movie, and then like he finally. But you know what? I needed it to be like. He was like full throated. Yeah, let's get that bitch.
He was like, let's kill her.
I was like, oh, okay.
You had that bass in your voice this whole time.
Right. One of the things that, and I think this might have been what Rachel Ziegler was talking about, like they are focusing on the love story, but at the end of Snow White, the movie, from what I remember, please correct me if I'm wrong, true love's kiss is the antidote to the poison apple, right? So the prince kisses her, or the guy kisses her, and then all is cured and now all is happy in the end of the movie. But this is like Rachel Ziegler as Snow White is going back to fight with the queen, and so that's like she has more agency or more heroism.
They're definitely giving her way more heroism in this. To me, it felt a little flat because ultimately we still don't really know who Snow White is. We know she misses her dad. We know that she's all about, doing what's right. She says to the thief, I don't want to steal. I'm going to stand up to the queen. I'm going to do all this stuff. But it just doesn't, for me, feel very motivated. It feels like an afterthought, like
I hear you.
If maybe, and this is getting to the fix, so I'm sorry, but if maybe her father said to her, sure, I'm the king, but women can lead too, and someday a woman can lead, and like you being one, and maybe she says to the queen, as a woman, this is some bullshit. We're supposed to be girl bossing it up.
Feminism are us.
Exactly. I could wear pants. Like something that just made it seem like she was being driven by something. And instead she comes out of the coma and she's like, well, let's get her. Let's get the queen. Like, why?
Right. I hear you.
I'd be like, deuces, I'm alive.
This bitch trying to kill me.
I'm not going back there.
I'm gonna stay right in this cottage with these dwarves. Fuck that.
Exactly.
Because she's probably gonna come back for your ass anyway. You're so right. I hear you on like the sense of duty, right? That I want song that she's sang. Whatever the wish was, it's a beautiful song, but like infusing that, not only the song but her identity. With something that drives her, right? That helps her get away, because all of the other stuff happens to her. And you know this as a writer, but like when when a bunch of stuff happens to your protagonist and they're not driving to do anything, it just it's a less compelling story. It's a less interesting character. This is her going to fight, but it takes a while for us to get there. So the whole town gathers to watch Snow White confront the queen. And like Fran was saying, it's pretty anticlimactic. The queen orders one of her guards to kill Snow White, but then she remembers that the guards, and Snow White remembers the guards, and she remembers the before times. So one dude had a bakery, I guess. I think that was Paul. Paul was fine as fuck. Paul was fine as fuck. You are so
thirsty. Gay. Snow White is here risking her fucking life. She has her life on the line until I was like, who that? You can butter my bread.
Come on over here, Paul. Because he's also one of the only black men in the movie, right? Him and the huntsman, right? And that has lines anyway.
Yeah.
So Paul had a bakery, and another farmer, I guess, says, I remember. And it's all just supposed to be so moving. They eventually obviously turn against the queen, and Jonathan, his little friend who suffers from dwarfism, evidently he's like this crossbow, like slinger. So he, from a high on some turret, shoots a crossbow, and he shoots the knife out of the queen's hand as she goes to stab Snow White. The dagger crumbles to ash, and then she goes back to the mirror. She runs back in the castle, and then she goes to the mirror, and she's pissed at the mirror, and she takes something. I can't remember what she takes. Maybe a chair, and breaks the mirror, and then she gets sucked into the mirror, which is all so confusing, because I just thought she got sucked into that mirror. The bitch is still in the castle. She's still in the castle.
She's trapped inside the mirror. I don't. What's going on?
I know. So if it sounds confusing, it is, and boring, and kind of stupid. But I appreciate the risk that was taken. It's all very weird. The movie ends with the townspeople. They're all dressed in white. Their new queen, Snow White, and Jonathan are having a picnic, and everything is great. They sing a song that sounds. This is when I knew Pascal and Paul had written something for this musical, because it sounded very similar to the big song from The Greatest Showman, which they also wrote.
Yes.
And I was like, God, why does this sound so familiar? It's just like epic and big and some of the same kind of musical structure. And I stayed after to watch the credits, and I was like, I knew these motherfuckers wrote it.
You didn't know?
Not going in, I didn't know. The brand is strong.
Wow.
But that's the end. So, Fran, tell me, what do you think worked in the film?
Okay, I like Rachel Ziegler. I think I'm not really that familiar with her as an actress. I didn't see West Side Story, but I've seen some clips from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe she won the Golden Globe for that
Okay.
performance. And I think she's really talented. And I got to be honest, I think I have a soft spot for her because people were ganging up on her, and I just
Heard.
I feel like I want to take up for her. So I thought she sounded beautiful. My
Ugh.
God, her voice, and she's so young. Like the effortlessness in her voice
Yes.
is just
Musical
so
theater
like
queen.
I'm so jealous. Like
Yes,
she just is
same.
belting out these big fucking notes. Like I said earlier, I loved the animals. The little squirrels were so cute. The little rabbits and stuff. I think that's
Bottom of the barrel. Bottom of the barrel.
I think that's it for me. What about you? What worked?
Despite the CGI, I do think like the practicals, things that they had, like the costumes were like they really got like Snow White's dress. They got Snow White's dress.
Her dress looked like Party City to me.
I
hated her dress. I hated her dress.
Wow.
She comes out of the water after she's gone through the forest and all ripped up, and then suddenly the dress is pristine, is perfect. It's so shiny, not a stain on it. It just looked
well. Listen,
it didn't look high quality to me.
She also was running through the woods, and all of a sudden she just drops into some water. So like it's willing suspension of disbelief. I just thought it got the iconicness.
Yes, it looked exactly like the movie,
the
but
OG.
I think it was for me, it felt a little too shiny and new. It didn't feel lived in. Like it felt almost too saturated and satiny.
Yes.
And I don't know.
And I think that was like trying to bridge the CGI with some of, and
maybe
it was probably color enhanced or color corrected in some ways.
Yeah.
I think to that point though, I would also say like if she is whistling while she works, pun intended, if she's whistling while she works up in the castle all day, how she get this all beautiful gown to go out apple picking? Exactly. Too much logic, perhaps.
Right, but this is what I'm saying, the same thing, because even to your point about the saturation, when she's cleaning in the castle, she's wearing her little, I don't know, house dress or whatever. But the color is different, and then she's like, I'm gonna go apple picking, so I'm gonna put on this gown. It was just a weird leap for me. But I'm sorry to interject.
No, not at all. I think one of the other things that I'm saying on the costumes, Gal Gadot looked great. She's fucking great. And the costumes were one of the things I really enjoyed about, and it went a little far sometimes, but every time she moved, there was like this chain kind of sound effect. And it was like almost like all of the jewels, because she wore all these jewels on her neck and like breastplates and things like that. It was almost like the sound of her jewels. It was this weird thing, but every time she moved, it was like a chain kind of sound effect that I thought was kind of interesting.
I don't remember that.
I mean, yeah, I said after the film, I was like, God, man, what a face. What a face.
I mean, she was, I think she was Miss Israel. She's a beauty queen.
Stunning.
The face is gorgeous.
Stunning.
I just want to circle back for 2 seconds. I almost said something. I wish I had said it before. You used the word turret. What is a turret?
Oh, a turret.
You said the man was doing the thing from the turret. I said, what's a turret? Is that a $25? That's not a 50. What is that?
I guess it's a historical word, like in like castles, like they have like the little tower things on top of the castle, the round things. Those are turrets with the windows.
Why do you know that?
I like old buildings.
I like a castle.
Listen, if I'm going to any country that is not America, I'm going to find the castle, the palace, the mansion. I want to see it. I love that.
Okay.
Can't wait to live in one.
Okay. All right, let's move on. What didn't work for you, Delon?
We talked about the CGI of it all.
Yeah.
I think she's pretty, but I don't think Gal Gadot is no Charlize Theron. I'm
No.
referencing Snow White and the Huntsman
Oh,
because
well,
that
Charlize is an Oscar winner. Okay,
okay.
so we're talking about two very different leagues.
Yeah, we're talking about tomatoes and
Mm-hmm.
tomato sauce, okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
with spices in it. Yeah, so that casting wasn't my favorite. I do like Rachel Ziegler, but I just Snow White's character.
Why was
That's not
she
my
doing
tea.
this? Why was Rachel doing this
Oh, bad,
weird?
bad technique, bad singing technique.
What is well, and you know what? She's doing this jaw thing, and it made me think of Keira Knightley because Keira Knightley does a lot of jaw
Oh,
acting
jaw
when
acting.
she's
Yeah, yeah,
talking, and
yeah.
it's when she's singing, but it's also when she's talking, and it was very distracting.
Was it? I mean,
Oh,
I definitely noticed while she was singing. Ariana Grande does it too, but Ariana Grande does it
oh
when she's
yeah.
riffing. There's
Oh, she's doing it a lot in Wicked.
yeah, there's a
What
lot
is
of like
what do you think? What is that?
you know what it is. It helps with the control of the vocal cord, of
Oh,
vocal cords rather. So riffing specifically, it actually interrupts what's happening with the sound, right? So if
mm.
you're like and you're trying to
Oh,
physically
you're
riff
moving the
with the
sound.
yes, you're moving the
Oh,
sound. But
interesting.
with Rachel, like sometimes it's like if it gets higher, it's just tension when you're singing. I have a lot of it in the back of my neck when I sing high, right?
Mm.
But I think that's what it is. I also wonder if she sang live at all of her. It looked like she was singing to a track at times.
I don't know. I That's a really good question because it didn't sound overproduced, and that's one of my big qualms of most movie musicals is it just
Mm,
sounds like auto-tuned and
hmm
just spiffed up. It did sound very natural, but I don't know if it was a track or if it was live.
Yeah. What didn't work for you?
Oh God. Yeah, I mean I mentioned the weird jaw thing. I Gal Gadot, I don't understand. I don't again, she's pretty.
Mm,
Um but her line delivery and it's not the accent just to be clear because there are lots of actors that have accents.
right.
Uh
Penelope
she
Cruz, Javier Bardem.
there's the accent is not what is holding her back.
Right.
It is like you can hear her thinking as she's saying the words.
Hmm.
And it's almost as if, something that we talk about a lot in acting is, the motivation, like what's happening that is compelling you to say these words. I took a great
Right.
class recently where the acting teacher had us write down what the character is thinking before they say the line. Excuse
Hmm.
me. And then she would have you say those thoughts out loud and then say the line and then do it a few times and then just say the line. And it really like unlocked something for me. And when
Hmm.
I watch Gal Gadot, I just see her thinking the line. She's like, yes
Yeah.
or no. You're like, oh my God, like, why are you saying it like
Yeah.
that? It's just so strange. And it is wild to me that she is at this level in her career. And you know what? To her credit, I think it worked for Wonder Woman because she's playing a fucking alien.
Yeah.
So, the alien, she don't know how to talk to humans. But now we need you to get that acting coach on the line and just try to work
Get
through it,
that
get some
get
line
that
readings or
acting
something.
coach. You like
Yeah.
a lot of big people do it. Everyone has an acting coach on
Mm-hmm.
set with them,
Mm-hmm.
And maybe
Mm-hmm.
she does, I don't know. Um what surprised you?
I was genuinely surprised by how much I enjoyed that Waiting on a Wish song. I
Mm,
I I loved that song. Rachel sounds so beautiful. It sounds, to me it sounds like a song that could take place in a number of different musicals, but I
sure.
could also what I kind of really want and I don't know if they have this, but like I miss when Disney would do the contemporary versions of the song, like when Aladdin happened and then they had Peebo Bryson and
Oh
did a
yeah.
version of
Yes.
of the songs or I'm
The
trying to
carpet
think of
ride. Magic carpet
yeah, a
ride.
Magic Carpet
What
Ride
is it called?
or Christina Aguilera doing Mulan. Like,
Yeah.
who's the pop star that's going to give us Waiting on a Wish? Because I just feel like that is
Mm,
begging for the pop star edit. So that really surprised me. Honestly, I was just surprised at like the fact that this much money was spent and they did a lot of reshoots on this film, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll talk about this a little bit later, that it got held up for all of these reasons, and that nobody thought the CGI dwarves are just not working.
Yeah.
Nobody said that they didn't work. They just are so strange.
Well, and not, they just aren't congruous with the rest of the
No.
film. You know what I mean? Especially because they have somebody with dwarfism in
I
the film as
know.
well, right?
Yeah.
Um, I was surprised at like how moved I was, and it
Yeah?
happens in, yeah. I mean, something can be like mid or bad, or like I can be like I really didn't enjoy it. Not yeah, I generally was like meh about this film, but when Dopey spoke, I was moved by that.
Hmm.
They have they Snow White and Jonathan have like a not hands on a hard body or whatever that the song is.
Hands on a hard body, hands on a hand. Get your
Hands.
mind out of the huntsman.
Get your mind out of the huntsman. Hilarious. But they had a song at the picnic where they all like they're clearly falling in love. And or I don't know if that's their second duet or something like that, but I was like moved by that.
Okay.
Yeah, I really didn't like Jonathan as a character.
Me neither.
But then he grew on me because, like you said, he was like negging her, and there was nothing that said like, "Oh, I'm really into her," until he was,
Yeah.
So that's I was surprised by being moved by some of the things, because I kind of was like, okay, let me just go in here and do this. But
So, did you like the movie?
girl, I fell asleep. Girl, I fell wholly asleep, so couldn't keep my
long.
attention.
We didn't talk about that. It was long.
It was long. You know what I did like about it? I was a middle-aged man going to see this movie midday with a bunch of families, with a bunch of young kids. And under normal circumstances, I'd be like, shut the fuck up. What are you talking? But it was so nice to hear like these little kids be like, Dopey.
Oh, they
and, like,
loved it.
Oh, they fucking loved it. And that like really warmed my heart. So
Yeah.
I loved the experience of watching it.
You know what? I'm gonna take that positive spin too. I did not like the film, but I will say there were a lot of families in my theater, and they were laughing. They were they were cackling. I was like, really? Okay. But I'm also not the target audience for this film,
Exactly.
And I think that's worth keeping in mind when you're seeing all these scathing reviews. And I will say the reviews have been very kind to Rachel Zegler. They've said she's like the highlight of the film.
Really? Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad for
and
that.
Again, the CGI doesn't speak to me, but the kids don't fucking know. They don't, and maybe to Peter Dinklage's point, that's the problem, because they're going to see these weird looking CGI things and they're going to maybe develop whatever feelings and thoughts they have about folks with dwarfism. And maybe that is where, again, they should have used real actual people, but
I know.
that's neither here nor there.
Stereotypes.
All right, Dylan, do you want to do it? Oh, okay.
No, go ahead.
Do you think that this film's box office failure will convince Disney to stop doing live action remakes? Because I don't know if you've heard, but there was a Tangled remake in the works, and it sounds like Disney has said that they are pausing. There's no casting announcements just yet, but they're reassessing, supposedly because of this film. So do you think that they're going to take this to heart?
I don't think so, because I think right now what's happening in the industry in general, it seems like Disney, who I believe owns the Marvel universe as well, they just keep regurgitating the same things over and over because they think that's what is going to make them the most money, because extant IP, the thing that we all know, and we're going to go, oh, that's a guaranteed in. But I think they're not thinking hard enough about creating new content that asks more of us, which is what we're actually longing for as audience members. And maybe it's you and I who are in the industry, who are storytellers, who, intelligent folks who want new stories. But I don't think that they own it already. They don't have to buy it. They don't have to do anything. They can just spin it and regurgitate it. But I think we're getting tired of it. We're really getting tired of it. We want to see new stories. So I don't think it's gonna change anytime soon, because also like the strikes happened last year,
Yeah.
and they lost out on a lot of money, and so I don't think, but they lost out on a lot of money, but they spent
But
270 on
somehow they
this
had
one.
270. Yeah, it's really wild because when I went to this movie, that was something that I noticed with all the previews. All the previews were for remakes. There's a
Yes.
live action Lilo and Stitch. There's
Mm-hmm.
a new Karate Kid. There's a new Jurassic Park, and I gotta be honest, I will be seated for fucking Jurassic Park. I like me some Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm.
But to your point, audiences, I think we want something new. And I think that the issue is, yes, this was not a great movie in my opinion, but I think it is undercut by the fact that it's being compared to the original. The bar is
Hmm.
set so high with the
Right.
original. And to be fair, the original story is not that interesting, but it is such a technological feat. It is
Right.
such a classic. It's the first feature animated film. It holds a very special place in a lot of people's hearts. Does not excuse how ridiculous and, the temper tantrums they had over it. But
Right.
the lesson for me is, don't touch something that's already perfect. Like
Yeah.
Disney, we need you to continue being the innovator that we know you to be.
That
Give
part.
us new talent. Give us new stories. Like there are new stories. There are new writers. Again, to regurgitate what Cord Jefferson said, there is a way to continue telling these fairy tales and centering young women and diverse stories without treading on well-worn territory. And because there wasn't much to work with this original one,
Mm-hmm.
I think is where it falls flat. We don't know anything about Snow White. We don't, like, there's not really much to root for. It
Right.
just feels so like, ugh.
Well, and to your point, it's because Snow White is so successful. It's a story and a trope that has been used over and over and over again, that Disney has used over and over again.
We've had like
Tangled,
eight,
same
we've
thing.
had,
There's an
yeah.
evil woman. There's an evil step woman who keeps
Mhm.
this young girl at bay. Little Mermaid, same thing. Cinderella,
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same trope over and over again. So if you're not saying anything new with it, like it does fall flat because we've seen it a million times.
Wait 1 second. We're almost at an hour. Do you want to skip the facts and just go straight to the fix?
Sure, that's great.
Great.
I do want to say one thing about Rachel Zegler before we go.
Sure.
With all the controversy that's happened, I think people have also kind of, from what I've seen on TikTok and socials, people have been like, well, what is she going to do now? Because she fucked up this film and all that kind of blame on her.
Yeah.
The bitch is in the West End right now doing a new production of Evita that has never been revived. That's definitely coming on its way to Broadway. She's doing fine.
She's fine.
She's going to
fine.
be all right.
Thank you for saying that. I feel the same way. She's so talented. She's still so early in her career. I think she's been in like 3 or 4 movies. It's really not that much. And she's so young. She is somebody, similarly to the way that years later, we think very differently about the way that the media treated Britney Spears.
Yeah.
We think very differently about the way that the media treated Jessica Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
I think we are going to, and I say we, not me, because I was not talking shit about Miss Rachel, but I think years from now, there's going to be this moment of, I can't believe how terrible everyone was to Rachel Zegler.
You heard it right here on Let Me Fix It the first time.
They did the same thing to Anne Hathaway. Remember when everybody was suddenly like, we hate Anne Hathaway because she wants the Oscar too bad. Like, what? You can rate people and everyone's like, but I love his music. But dare a woman be too much of a fucking theater nerd?
Right.
They're like, oh, she's so sincere and cringy. Like, Rachel's only crime is she's like kind of nerdy.
She's so sincere, which is cringy. She's too ambitious, which is me. Like, a woman cannot do anything.
She's having a mental health crisis. Fuck her.
She had a kidney transplant and she gained weight. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Like it's absolutely insane the way that our media is gleeful to tear down a fucking woman. And again, exactly. You heard it here first, because y'all know I fucking love receipts. And I hope that I'm 55 years old, still doing this podcast.
Talk about it.
Play back the tape. And we have Rachel in the stewed to say,
claims.
Y'all were in our corner. Because again, they stay trying to drag her. And it just, honestly, it's feeling very orchestrated. It's giving astroturfing. I don't know that this is
It's
sincere.
giving Blake Lively. It's giving oops.
It's giving freaking Johnny Depp. It's like
Yes.
who is behind this? A lot of
Right.
bots. Anytime you say anything positive about her, because I made like one video defending her, and I had people coming at me left and right on fucking TikTok. She's ungrateful. If I got to play Snow White, I was like, you didn't get to play Snow White.
Talk
though.
about it.
And that's where you're upset, is that you say, how dare this Latina girl not grovel and just be so appreciative for the opportunity. She did a great job. She earned the fucking part. You don't have to like her or be her friend.
Who says she's not grateful? You know, y'all are just looking for it.
They tried to
Y'all
get
just
at
looking for
her
it.
because during the strike, she was on the picket lines as she was supposed to be. And she said something about, we need to be paid fairly, blah, blah, blah. And people were up in arms. How dare she? She's a millionaire. She's made all this money. It's like, no, she hasn't. She had been in one film at that point, and the film was on streaming. It's straight to HBO. So she didn't make any residuals. And it was like her first big thing. And again, I'm sure she was paid fair, like handsomely.
Right.
But she did not stand to make as much money as HBO made.
Right.
And she was supposed to be on strike. Like they were,
no matter how
so
much
weird.
money she made, right? We needed all of the stars,
yes,
especially a Julia Roberts, a huge star, to come down and stand on the picket line and go, us too, we're with you, right?
Yes, solidarity. And Delon, they were trying to drag her, and I was like, you know what? I ain't got no job, but I do got time. Y'all not about to get my good sit. I don't know, Rachel, but I was like, stand behind me, girl. I got you.
I got you. You just sing behind me, girl.
Yes.
I'll be up here fighting for your ass. Okay, class. So now that we've gone over Snow White, it's time for us to do what we do best here and fix it. But let's take a quick break. And we're back. Fran, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Listen, I know we've seen a number of these movies that are from the villain's perspective, but I think this would have been an interesting opportunity to give us something more. And now I will say this also, not with Gal. not with Gal. I don't think she has the range to carry that version of the film. But I think that would be really interesting. Or another thing that could possibly happen is, let's start the movie after the queen has been defeated. Let's see what's next for Snow White. Does she start a family? What kind of ruler is she? What kind of challenges does she face? Does she open a pie shop? Give the girl some fucking hobbies and interests. Let us get some insight into her psyche. And then I think, again, my big one is get rid of the CGI.
Yeah.
Let the dwarves go. We don't need them. Maybe they go off and they have their own lives. I mean, again, I do think the IP of it all, I get it. They don't want to leave money on the table. So I think instead of ruining what we already know, give us something new. You know what it is? It's like Wicked for Snow White. Give us the real story.
You're on the same page, girl.
Give us the real story of the evil queen. Maybe she's not really evil. Maybe she's fucking menopausal. And she's,
I think you're speaking from the eye.
Listen, she's talking to that mirror. She's having hallucinations. I'm trying to give her
some
flashes. She's going through something, okay?
Dead.
Delon, what about you?
So very similar. I didn't realize that there actually was a Seven Dwarves film that was being shopped around. So telling Snow White from the Seven Dwarves perspective. So very similar to you about Wicked, like I would like to see a film from the Seven Dwarfs perspective. This film that was actually planned, it was in this article that we read for the pod episode class. I guess like the Seven Dwarves were like these kind of fighters who took in a young samurai.
They were going to be samurai.
Oh God, we love to take somebody's culture here in America and make it a fucking film.
Maybe it's good they didn't do that.
I mean, please God, it'd be Tom Cruise in the Last Samurai over here.
Like,
fuck.
I'm slicey. I'm dicey.
Crazy. No. But I would love to see like who are the Seven Dwarves and how can not that they save Snow White, but like that, I don't know, that they where do they come from? Who
Yeah.
are their people? Are they the last of their people? Like, I'm interested in that. I'm also interested in this film. One of the things I really appreciated is, class, when they go into the caves and they go to Hi-Ho work, they're like cutting up all these gems and stuff underground. I was like,
yes,
where all these riches come from? God damn. And y'all sleeping in this sad ass cottage over here with all these
dirty
jewels?
ass cottage. You know what's so funny, Dawn? When you say that you want to hear from the dwarves' perspective, I just had like a Curb Your Enthusiasm style version of the film where they're doing like confessionals and they're like, this motherfucker, we leave the house for 2 seconds and then this bitch shows up, and they're like each telling us how they felt. It's, you know what it is, Delon? It's like 30 years after Snow White showed up. It's like the anniversary of Snow White showing up and, like, you know, the queen dying and whatever. And they're all sitting down and they're like, Snow White, I remember her. Oh man, this is what happened. They're like each telling the story of what they remember.
I love that.
I mean, I would watch
like,
you're hired. You're booked.
So I'm interested in that. I'm also interested, like, in that version of the story, how the dwarves and Snow White have a rupture, right? How do they have a rupture? Is it a political thing? Is like, you know what I mean? I want to see.
There's a MAGA. There's a MAGA.
Not MAGA. Not Snow White going MAGA.
They're like, but she took our jobs.
I mean, she took our gems, maybe, right? Because they dug up all them damn gems. But like, actually, that's a great fix, right? Snow White inherits the kingdom. The queen is dead, or she's stuck in that fucking mirror, and the kingdom's broke. The kingdom ain't got no money, but the dwarves have all those gems, and Snow White needs them. And so, and it's a moral thing, right? Snow White needs it for not just for her, it's actually to save the kingdom. Yeah. And the dwarves are holding on to it because they're like, girl, that's our cave. That's our inheritance.
Also, you owe us money. You slept here for like 3 days.
Okay. you at least a bag of oats or some porridge or something, girl.
Yes, I there's also something really interesting if they're gonna, you know, use this foundation where Jonathan, you know, is this thief. How does Jonathan adjust from being, you know, a little pickpocket to being up in the castle? That feels like a difficult transition.
That really does. And you know what? Now that you're saying that, God, Disney, y'all just use the same tropes over and over again. He's Aladdin, isn't he? He's Aladdin.
Yes.
He's Robin Hood. Like, it's the same kind of trope, that the narrative that we've bought into, you know?
Yeah, and there's also the kind of like, oh, she's gonna save him. She's gonna fix this rough around the edges guy who's had a hard life, and she's gonna show him love for the first time, which is, like, again, to your point, we've seen before. But what we haven't seen is the realities of how hard it is to let somebody love you, let somebody save you.
You better add some psychology to this motherfucker. You better, she said, I'm adding some depths to these 40 years. But I think also you just gave Snow White so much more of a 3-dimensional character shift in that one sentence than she actually had. The idea that, like, she's trying to save him, but we didn't really see him have a problem. Right. Yeah. And that would have actually the fairness, the caring, the empathy would have given her, oh, she's a helper. She helps she helped the dwarves clean that nasty ass sty. She helped Jonathan figure out what he needed. Right. So I think that would have given more 3-dimensionality.
And there's also something really interesting about what I love when you talk about rupture in good storytelling is when you can see both sides of the rupture. And so there's something about Snow White saying, you don't want to be a thief forever. Don't you want to, like, make something of yourself? Don't you want to, like, I don't know, open your own shop or blah, blah, blah. And she's not wrong, but Jonathan's like, let me be a man. Let me fucking figure out what it is I want to do. Maybe I like being a fucking thief because I get to help people, you know, maybe fuck capitalism, you know, fuck the monarchy. You know what I mean?
Like you help people how you want to help. This is how I help people. Right.
Exactly. And so you can see both sides where it's like, okay, you have to let people come to the conclusion of who they want to be on their own. You can't force it. And she wants to, like, I don't know, dress him up in fancy clothes and stuff. And she wants to, like, almost mold him into
her father.
Her daddy issue. There's the next song. There's a daddy issue song.
Daddy issues. But, like, let's do this. So it's not hands on our body. It's hand. What's the title of that song?
Hand in hand.
Hand in hand.
Hand.
and Waiting for a Wish. Hand meets
Mhm.
hand, Waiting for a Wish. What's the title of the daddy song? Can we come up with it right now?
Ooh, it's something about
If You Were Him.
or it's something about, like looking for my father, or like
I
my
see
father
him in you.
my father's
He lives
child.
in you. From the Lion King.
Yeah, I do. There's something in the, and there's something really interesting too about the fact that there's the whole when you're asking for the hand in marriage. Maybe there's something
Mm.
in that. Like he's having a song about how he wishes he could ask for her hand.
Oh, friend, that's so good.
He has to go to like the grave site, and he has to he has to
Mm.
sing to her father's ghost and ask for the
God,
hand.
here. He goes to the graveyard or maybe wherever they memorialize him, and he says, "If you were," the thesis is, "If you were here, you would see who she's become." If you were here is the title. That's great.
Wow. Wait, give us
Damn.
the EGOT. Come on
Come
now.
on
What's
now.
Hollywood?
Okay, if I played the piano, I'd put a chord right here.
Oh my God. All right, class. Snow White. Did we fix it? And if you had to remake this movie, who would you cast as the evil queen? No wrong answers. Anyone's better than Gal Gadot. So let us know over on Instagram at FixItPod, or email us, lemmefixitpod@gmail.com. And don't forget, send us a tagline.
Please. And we have a YouTube channel where you can watch our beautiful faces, raw, uncut, not sexual at all. Remember that we have that link in the description on youtube.com/@fixitpod. And now
And
it's
now,
time for everyone's favorite segment. Sorry. My brain just shut off.
no,
Sorry.
I was going to do it. You could do it. Go for it.
Now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, the Glow Up, where we give props to those who've turned themselves around without our help. Fran, why don't you go? Because I just jumped on your toes.
Oh, okay, no problem. So my glow up goes to my dear friend Delina Marin. She is an
Mm,
incredible makeup artist, but she's also an entrepreneur, and she has a new podcast called "It Takes a Village."
it's
And
great. I've subscribed.
I recently did the show. I love the premise of this podcast. And I know there's a lot of podcasts out there. And granted, I am biased because this is my friend, but go with me here. I saw a TikTok recently that said everybody wants a village, but no one wants to be a villager. And it was all
Hmm.
about the fact that so many people expect folks to show up for them, but they don't show up for others and
Oof.
do the work. And
Mm,
so that dovetails into the premise of Delina's show, because she interviews people and she talks to them about their journeys, but then she talks to them about their village. Who
wow.
helped make you who you are? How did you develop those relationships? And I'm just in this era right now. I mean, I just love on you all the time, Delon. I talk about you all the time. Shamika, Caitlin, I have Ceci. I have so many great friends, Delina, Michelle, and I realize that I am so blessed, and a lot of people don't have that. And what
Yes.
we really need to do is we need to teach people how to be a friend. And I really feel like the
Mm,
conversations that Delina is having on this podcast are doing that. And I'm just so proud of her because she really put herself out there. Again, there's a lot of podcasts.
right.
Delon, the production. She's in a studio.
It's great.
It is. I mean, she came out the gate fucking swinging. She said,
Yeah.
it's so well done. Every clip that she shared, either of me, or she had Issa Rae on the podcast, which was a huge get. And she's being really smart and strategic about how she's marketing the show. I really think that the conversations that are being had there are so vital. And for me, I've done a lot of interviews. It was so nice to get to talk about you and our relationship and how we've built it,
Mm,
and Michelle and how we've built our relationship, and how Shamika and I work together. And just to kind of talk about, yeah, you know Francesca, but what you don't know, or hopefully you know if you follow me, is that I got some good fucking people in my
talk
village
about
that have
it.
helped me get here. And we all need to be very deliberate about pouring into our villages. So shout out to Delina, a great friend, an incredible artist, an entrepreneur, and Black woman doing the damn thing. She is
Yeah,
my
I don't
glow up.
say the name of the podcast. I don't think you said that.
The podcast is It Takes a Village.
I love that. I love that. I've subscribed. I've started listening to your episode. I've seen the clips on YouTube. It's beautiful. It's very, really well done.
She killed it.
Yeah, good job, Delina. Delina's also such. I said this via text to you. Like, what a great fucking soul. I've only met her a handful of times, but like, she's beautiful.
She's incredible. I feel, again, very, very lucky. It's always a love fest when I talk about my friends. So I'm glad that she is in that circle as well. So what is your glow up this week?
My glow up is very simple. This happened to us before. I'm giving it up to Missy Elliott and her Coachella performance. Okay,
incredible.
Everyone's talking about Lady Gaga and how great it was, and I've seen some of that, and I'm sure it's great. But Missy Elliott, just like, because she was a huge star when we were in high school. She is still a huge star, but she got sick. I forget what kind of sickness she had, and so she kind of like, went to take care of herself, had to take a knee, and she's back now in the 21st century, and she's out here. Just like, I've listened to some of the clips and saw some of them, and I was like, God, this fucking song. And I also could see like the people in the audience, like some of them knew the songs, but I was like, babies. I know these songs.
They're children. They don't know.
Yeah, but the production value is really good, and she's up there. She's got to be in her like mid to late 50s, so she's up
she's
there.
In her 50s. She's early 50s.
Beats and stuff. So I'm giving it up to Missy. I hope you're coming out with some new music soon. I'm putting that in the universe.
Yes.
I hope maybe it's a throwback to your old sound, but maybe it's something like really new, collaborating with other artists. She's also a great producer. So I'm giving it up to Missy because that's all on my gym playlist. Her music is all on my gym playlist, and it's nostalgia, which is a huge part of why we started this podcast, and commiserating over things from the past. And she's a gem and a good one. So go ahead, Missy.
Seminal talent. We love you. Cannot wait to hear new music. I'm just going to claim that new music is coming from her.
Yes.
And I can't wait to hear it. So class, now we want to hear from you. Maybe you would like to suggest a television show, a celeb, or a brand that we should fix in a future episode. Hit us up on Instagram @FixItPod or email us lemmefixitpod@gmail.com.
And if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to give us a rating on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, or your favorite podcast app. I'm DeLon.
And I'm Francesca. And this was Lemme Fix It.